Hi, in this video what I'm going to do is talk you through taking a model from Revit into 3D Studio. I'm going to use the link here, but if you didn't intend to change your building again, then presumably you could just insert it or save as an FBX straight from Revit. But we'll use the link facility. Okay, now note in the 3D views inside Revit we've got 3 of them. The 3D staircase was a call-out view, so that would be a dangerous one to use. Okay, so in 3D Studio we'll go to File, Import, Link Revit. Okay, make sure I'm getting the right file here. I don't want the backup file, so that's a backup file, and this is the actual file. So take this one. Okay, it takes a few seconds. It's just a laptop I'm using, so it's not the most powerful. So let me think about what's going on. It's asking me which view I want to kind of initialize, and this is where you have to be careful, because you'd only pull in a portion of the model if you used this one, because it was the call out. So I'm going to go for 3D view 1. Okay, and the button comes to life when I go over it. I think my hardware's struggling a wee bit. Okay, you can see a progress bar down here. Okay, so it's basically doing kind of an FBX transfer in the background instead of you exporting as FBX. Now it's going to turn Revit's lighting system into a 3D Studio lighting system, and advising me about the exposure value setting. So I'll just actually answer yes to that, so it sets up the exposure control. Okay, this dialog box kind of pops up and stays here, so I'm just going to close that down and have a look at the model. Okay, so we've got a model. We've got a daylight system here, but this is an old style one. This is one that would be working with Mental Ray. Now everything in the software is ART renderer now, so why it swaps it for the legacy Mental Ray one is a bit of a mystery. So I'm basically just going to delete that, because we're not rendering with Mental Ray, and better to use the sun positioner instead. So I'm going to take that away, and I'm going to take away these 2 cameras as well that are outside the building, and at the origin here there's some helpers, so I'm just going to delete all those as well. I don't need those, just a bit of clutter. Okay, and you can see this is a bit difficult to read in the way it's set up, because everything's kind of black at the moment. So let's change the view here to be the camera view that we set up in Revit, so that's a bit easier to understand. The geometry here though is all black, so I'm just going to kind of select all that and change its colour. So pretty much I'll just give everything the same colour. Let's go for a kind of a pale blue. That way when we select something we'll be able to see it selected. So you see it changes white when we select it. Okay, the lights there have all come through, and if I change the filter to lights, I could make those a bit more distinctive. Let's just change those to, say, yellow, so we can see those. Put the filter back. Okay, now as I said, we'll use a sun positioner daylight system instead. So plus sign there, lighting, sun positioner. Okay, we'll put it in the scene, orientate to the north. Okay, let's check its location and everything. Right, I'm going to modify here, and you'll see pretty much the first thing that comes up is saying install sun and sky environment. So click on that, otherwise you're not going to get the daylight and the sky working outside. Okay, so we check the location. Let's go to Europe and let's go to Scotland. Okay, that's today's date, and 3 in the afternoon, that should be fine. So I haven't adjusted any of the lights, the power of anything, not adjusted any materials at all. I'll go to the render setup, and let's render something a bit bigger than 640 480. So let's say 1000 by 500. That should render reasonably quickly. That'll be okay. Okay, and in the perspective view here, I'm going to show the safe frame so we get the right proportion. And let's see what happens when we render. Okay, we're getting a few errors on materials. So there's something embedded in some of the materials that it doesn't like, this Autodesk speckle. Okay, I'm not too worried about that. Okay, we're getting an image, it's pretty gloomy. We haven't adjusted the exposure control, so I'll just cancel that. And rendering, exposure control, that's a bit bigger. Okay, take the tick off use physical camera, set the global exposure control. Okay, so it's kind of using daylighting here by the look of it. We'll set it to say, want it a bit brighter, so let's say 12. And hit render again. Getting the same errors, so we could try and weed out these, but I'll just wait for the next one to come in. So saying the camera uses a far clipping plane, we could deal with that one quite easily. Okay, so that's looking not too bad. Okay, so we've got lights here that appear to be on, but they're not actually illuminating anything, and that's the problem, because the daylight, the sunlight is a far stronger light than these. So it's the exposure control is working for the sunlight and the daylight, but these are kind of pathetically powered in comparison. So to make the lights come on, we have to make them very powerful. So if we want the equivalent kind of daylight and artificial light that we had in Revit, then we've got to adjust the lights and really bump up their power. So we'll close that, and we're going to use the light lister. So tools, light lister, and you see here we've got 3 kind of banks of lights. Now this is the kind of intensity of the light, the power of the light. So let's see which one's which. Okay, so that's the main office lights, they're the suspended ones. Okay, that's some of the wall lights, not all of them, and that's the other wall lights. I don't know why it split those up into 2 groups. Okay, but these are the wall lights and these are the ceiling lights. So let's make them much more powerful. Let's see what 5,000 does for those, and 2,500 for these. Okay, but they need some colour. At the moment the light is black. Okay, so let's make them white. White light in all these. Okay, the bias is the accuracy of the shadows. I'll just leave that as it is just now. So let's render that and see what happens. See if we get some illumination. Tell you what, we're going to be ignoring these anyway. So let's take a tick off that. And just wait for the next one to come up and close it. Okay, so I'm seeing some impact to the lights here. Not a great deal. Okay, so maybe we should double the power of those lights. Okay, so let's try that. So let's make these 5,000, and we'll make this one 10,000. So refresh all those lights. And told the error message not to show up. So that works a bit better. Okay, here it comes again. Okay, so you get the impression the lights are kind of showing up here. This doesn't look very realistic though, does it? We've kind of got lights on the walls, but these are supposed to be glowing with light. Yeah, so let's adjust that. So I can see that light's working. There's a strip of light here that's coming from the light going between the two desks. So I think the ceiling lights are doing okay. But let's try and get these wall lights a bit brighter. Okay, so that's the actual material that's on the light. Okay, so let's try and find one of these. I'll look for a side view. Here we go, here's the sconces. I've got frosted glass on there. So go to the materials editor. Okay, we've got a couple of materials prepped already. I'll just show you how I did these. So just to recap, so I'll just copy these over. Create them again. Okay, so the light for the sconces. Start off with a preset, frosted glass preset. Okay, and I'll change the transparency to 0.7, but make them a white glass. Subsurface sampling, make that white as well. Okay, put the background in. Okay, but I need these to give off light. Okay, so let's emit power of 1, white colour, and we'll give this a luminance, let's say 5,000 candelas, okay? So put that onto the lights so we can see them, they're showing up now. Okay, and let's change the floor material as well. So some of these things will stay with the model. So the material we've added there, we'll better give it a name actually. So this is sconce SI, short for self-illuminating. Okay, and then the floor, let's say floorboards. Okay, once again, start with a preset. I'll go with a matte paint. Put this one to advanced because I want to change the reflectivity of it. Base color, strength 1. I'll just put that to white because the blue's a bit freaky looking. Reflections, let's say 0.2 with a roughness of 0.2. Okay, so that's a little bit, maybe a bit glossy that. Let's make it 0.4. Okay, and then we want a material map on there. So the base colour, I'm going to use a bitmap, and I've got a wood material prepared for that already. Open. I want to see it on a cube. The mapping, I'll take off the real world scale, go back to the parent. Show that material in the viewport. Okay, we haven't assigned it yet, so you click on the floor and notice it's going to pick up the stairs as well, so all that material is going to go onto all those objects. So assign it. If I need different mapping for the stairs and as opposed to the room, then I would have to set that up. So I really need the floorboards to go this way. So we'll modify UVW map, take the tick off real world. Okay, let's say length 6,000, width 4,000. That's the kind of shape of that, of the JPEG. And that looks a bit big in that direction, so let's say this one down a bit. Let's say 4,000 by 3,000. That looks a bit better. Okay, I need to click on this so that I can rotate the mapping. Okay, in my top view, that's the mapping coordinate there. Okay, I think we might have this the wrong way around. So let's rotate it and see what happens. Yeah, the top of the map is the wrong way around. Okay, so I'm just going to swap these numbers around. That should be better. That looks better. Fairly thin blanks all going this direction. Okay, so a couple of materials changes there, as well as the sun positioner. They're my kind of changes. So I'll render that. See what that looks like. Okay, we'll not sit and wait till the end. Let's just let it start. A very different colour feel now. Okay, so we could let that render and let's say we need to go and change something in the model. Let's say we need to adjust the materials on the stair. And we'll do that in Revit instead. And we'll move some of the furniture around as well in Revit, just to make sure it looks like something's changed. So that's looking quite good. Okay. Well, actually, I'm going to put in a person as well. I'm going to put somebody on the stair. So add an object in Max. So I'm just going to add a system path here. Customize user paths. Okay, so I'm going to add a path to this. X, Y, Z people. It should be it. Okay, use path. Import person, so we'll merge a human and we'll stand him on the stairs. Okay, grab the people. So who are we going to take? This chap kind of walking along the staircase, that'll do. Now hopefully he's going to come in the same size. I haven't tried this, so yeah, good. He's just arrived at 0, 0. He's the right scale, so we'll just have him as if he's walking along the half landing. So probably best to look at this side so I can get him at the right height. Okay, let's get his feet on the ground. I think this is the actual ground. So let's put it there. Okay, so you can just see him in the distance there walking. Okay, maybe put somebody else in. Not in the right place, so let's keep the gender balance correct. She looks busy, let's use her. Okay, she could be walking towards the staircase. Let's just turn around. Busy, looking business-like. Okay. Right, so I'll save this. Where are you? File. Save as. I'll drop this. I'll save this one. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll change something in Revit. Okay, so let's swap the tables around. Let's take these ones and put them where the conference table is. Okay, put it there. And let's also change the materials on the balustrade. So let's make them all a bit more chrome-like. Okay, so we'll edit the balustrade, so rail structure. I think this is where, let's see where the materials are mentioned. So one is flat steel, it's not mentioning materials there. Okay, let's try material, square handrail, okay. Okay, let's use stainless steel polished for these. Okay, apply and okay. Apply, okay. Not sure if there's any other places we can get to materials for that. Let's maybe make the stringer for the stairs as well. Let's pick the stair structure as well. Have a look at 3D staircase for that so I can get to the bits I need. Okay, so let's click the stair and edit type. That's the calculation rules, looking for the construction. Tread to a stringer material, okay, there we go. So let's use that stainless steel again for that. Okay, so we've made some fairly big changes there. Save that. Okay, then look at 3D Studio, go to File and Reference, Manage Links. Okay, look at the Files tab and we've got a little red flag here, okay, warning me that the file has been changed. Okay, now some things will stay the same but other things will change, and the one thing that annoyingly changes is the lights. So I've got a tick here on show reload options. Okay, so we need to reload it to get rid of this warning and for it to change the objects. All looks a bit drastic. It's like, oh no, we've lost everything. Okay, don't bother to bring in the daylight system. Okay, we didn't move the cameras, so we'll let it bring in the cameras. And if we don't bring in the lights, then we won't have any lights. Okay, so we do need to let it bring the lights in. Down here, we can keep any parameters that we've changed as far as materials go. Okay, so the sconces and the floor should stay the same. Okay, it's going to use the same view. Okay. So let's see what's happened. Okay, I'm presuming the model's all going to change to black again and all the lights will be different colours. It's not really a kind of a live link as such. It is a kind of a dump and reinstate. Oh well, no, it's kept the blue. Good. The lights though have changed. Okay, so if we change the lights and select all those, make them yellow again. Okay, so you see the materials are still the same and the people are in the right place still. Okay, but the lights, I'm afraid, look at the light lister, the lights have reverted. Okay, so we need to make them all white again. So if you add lots of different lights, you'd really need to make a little printout of this and remember which ones you changed. It's flipped the order of these for some reason. They're the wrong way around now. So we had 10,000 for those and 5,000 for each of these. Okay, but you see the furniture has changed, so presumably the material here has changed as well. Okay, let's refresh that. Okay, and I'm going to render this one and let this one render fully. So I will pause, well, I'll check the render setup first. Let's see how long I'm going to allow it to render. Let's make it a bit bigger so it's a bit better quality. If we're going to pause the video, we may as well do something worthwhile. Okay, so we have 2000 by 1000. I'll save the file. If I go for a TIFF, then I can use the transparency of the windows to help with the background. Okay, let's call this test render Revit to max. Okay, store the alpha channel. Okay, check how long it's going to render for. Let's go for a medium quality, but I will only allow it 10 minutes in total. So let's kick it off. These chairs don't have much support, do they? It appears to have stands, but maybe they do, maybe they don't. So let's just let it start rendering, and then I will pause the video and restart in 10 minutes time. So let's go and think about it. There we go. So I'll pause there. Okay, that's 10 minutes rendering time up. Things are looking pretty sharp. The longer you leave the ART renderer, the better things will look. One thing that is kind of puzzling me a little bit here is that this woman here is casting a shadow, but she's not really receiving any light there, so possibly the material is a outdated one. But hopefully that's given you a good idea of what you can do here. If we disable the daylight system and go for a nighttime view instead, I'll just change this back to all and delete these two cameras. So I'll try and get to the daylight system. Okay, I don't know if we can actually switch this off. It doesn't have a kind of an on-off button, the sun positioner, if I remember rightly. So let's just delete that just for a second, and rendering environment, take off we'll clear this as well, just to kind of make sure there is no sky active there. So the lights would be way too powerful now, so we'd have to go back to the light lister, kind of put them back pretty much the way they were, so about say 1500 or something. These are about 1700, and the other ones are about 400, say. Okay, rendering environment. Let's put this down to 10 to allow for that, and refresh that and see what this looks like. I'll not save this one. So I'll take the tick off and save file, and let's just have a wee look, see what this looks like without the sky. We'll just let it start and then we'll quit it at that point. So we should have a black background once this comes in. You've disabled, you've cleared the sky. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is your equivalent kind of nighttime shot. I'm not going to sit and watch this render, that'll take a bit too long. I could leave it and come back once the 10 minutes is up, see what it looks like. Okay, not quite as kind of warm and kind of attractive as the Revit ones, so kind of getting better daytime ones but not so good nighttime ones. So I'll pause the video just there and come back when 10 minutes are up. Okay, so there's the interior scene finished now, the nighttime version. So these are a bit on the bright side, and we've got a few blemishes above these lights. But a bit of an increase in the exposure there in Photoshop, and that would be pretty accessible. Pretty acceptable is the word I'm looking for. Pretty acceptable image. Okay, hope you found that useful. That's the end of this kind of Revit Extras mini series of 4 videos.